In this video, we are going to talk about circles. We're going to talk about some terminology on the circle. We're going to talk about circumference and then area of a circle. So a circle is, looks like this. We have a center point, and from that center point, the distance out to the edge is exactly the same length all the way around. That length is known as the radius. A diameter is the measure all the way across a circle, which is basically a radius and then another radius connected together as long as they make a straight line. The length around a circle is the circumference, and then you have the area within. So circumference is kind of like the perimeter of a circle, just has its own name. And then if you cut a circle in half, you're talking about a semicircle. So pieces that you'll need to know, other than some of this terminology, to find the circumference of a circle, the length around it, there is a formula, and it is 2 pi times radius. And then the diameter or the area of a circle is pi r squared. So those are two formulas that we're going to need. So let's start. So the first thing is find the circumference and area of the circles using appropriate formulas. So it says find the circumference to the nearest tenth of a meter if a circle has a diameter of 13.5. Well, our formula doesn't have diameter, but a diameter is twice a radius. So if you know that the diameter equals 1.3, the radius is going to be half of that. So we'll take 1.3 divided by 2. So 0.65 is the radius that we're going to use. So 0.65. All right, and we're not going to worry about rounding anything yet. We'll get that at the end. So circumference is 2 pi r is our formula. The radius is 0.65. So 2 times pi times 0.65. And we are just going to throw that into a calculator. Okay, so on this calculator is a pi button. The pi button is just a little bit above the division where that caret where you're raising exponents to, it's right there. So you'll have to use the blue to get there. So we're going to do a 2 pi r, which is our times 0.65. Okay. Use the pi, don't use 3.14 because this is as accurate as we can pretty much make it if we use the symbol, because this thing stores a whole lot of decimals, more than what the screen even shows. So it'll be as accurate as we can make it. So we multiply it out. We're going to round it to the nearest tenth. Nearest tenth is 1 decimal place, so the 8 bumps the 0 up to a 1. So we are looking at 4.1, and it is a circumference, which means it's a linear kind of a measurement. It's a length. It's like a perimeter. So our label is 4.1 meters. All right, so that is our circumference. If they give this one, so we're doing the same type of thing. We're finding circumference, but they give us it in 1 foot 9 inches. Well, that's not all that helpful. So for your 1 foot 9 inches, you want to take that 9 inches and make it into a fraction. It's 9/12 of a foot, which is specifically the 9/12 simplifies to 3/4. So you're looking at 1.75 feet. All right, and it does say radius, which is great. So that is our radius measurement. So our formula is circumference is 2 pi r, which means it's 2 times pi times 1.75. We'll throw that into a calculator. Okay, so we have 2 pi times 1.75, and we want to round that to the nearest hundredth. So the hundredth is right there. So we have a 10 point, let's write that down. We have a 10.995. We want to round here, so it's the 5 that's going to dictate that. So the 5 bumps that up, which makes that a 10. Well, we're going to put a 0 and we're going to carry the 1. That makes that a 10. We're going to put a 0, carry the 1. So that's going to finalize as 11.00 feet. So that's the circumference. All right, and then the last one is find the area. This one though is it's good because it's giving you kind of practice on this. That you're going to try to find. It says we have a 15-inch diameter wheel that has a 3-inch hole in the center. We want to find the area of the side of the wheel to the nearest tenth. So the wheel's the blue, and we want to cut out the green. So to figure that out, I kind of call this a donut. We're always going to find the area of the bigger shape, and we're going to cut out the area of the smaller shape. So for our wheel, we are going to do big minus small. So we need to find the areas of both of those. And eventually we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. All right, so big. Big is we are finding the area. Area is pi r squared. Well, we don't know the radius, we do know the diameter. So for the big, the diameter is 15, which means we cut it in half for the radius. So half of 15 is 7.5. So we'll throw this in. We'll do pi times 7.5 squared, and we'll get a value out of that. So pi times 7.5 squared, and don't forget you have a squared button right there. All right, so that's going to get us 176.7. Okay, so that's how much area the whole thing is. But we want to cut out the small. So the small also gives us a radius or a diameter of 3 inches all the way across. So if the diameter is 3, the radius is half of that at 1.5. So our area, again, is pi r squared. So it's pi times 1.5 squared. Don't know. Let the calculator do the math. So pi times 1.5 squared is 7.1. So 7.1. All right, so the wheel is us taking the big. The total area was 176.7, and we're subtracting out the smaller, which is 7.1. So when we subtract that, we get a total of 169.6 inches squared. Because anytime you're talking about an area measurement, you're still talking about squares. So it would take almost 170 little squares to fill up the blue. And that is our area. All right, so that was finding circumference and area of circle.